I met Rob a couple weeks ago during another meetup type of education, a Zoom education webinar, and he was great, explained Cardano and what was going on. So I invited him on to talk a little bit about Cryptoducation, what they do up there in Toronto, how they educate their students and people that are interested in crypto, a little bit of information about Cardano and what's going on with the state of the cryptocurrency. And then we'll open up to questions and answers at the end so that you guys can ask questions and hopefully be able to get some useful information for whatever your desires are in the crypto space. But I'll let Rob run through his presentation. It'll probably be about 15-20 minutes or so, and then at the end we'll get into the questions and hopefully be able to wrap this thing up in 30 or 45 minutes so that everybody can enjoy the rest of their evening. So Rob, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you. So again, thank you very much for having me there in the meetup. And it's great that we are using and leveraging technology to the extent possible to really be as close as possible and ask questions, learn a lot, right? So quick disclaimer before I introduce myself. All the information that we're going to be presenting and discussing, it's not investment advice, it's not financial advice, and should not be used as such. And it's not a solicitation to buy or sell cryptocurrencies or securities. 100% of this material and their content expresses the opinions and personal experience of the author, so me. And well, we all know cryptocurrencies are highly volatile. There is a lot of speculations, as Christian and I were discussing, and they carry a lot of risk. So, I guess the best sanity for your own mind would be that if you invest any money that you have on any cryptocurrency, you think of it like it's gone. And, if it hasn't been lost or it hasn't lost value, then you know what? Great. You are the very few that made it, right? But think of it from the mathematical and financial perspective that they carry a lot of risk. So you may lose, think of it like you already lost that money. Okay. So my name is Roberto, and I was born in Mexico City, came to Canada in 2006. Back then I was working in sales and marketing for, CPG or fast moving consumer packaging goods companies like P&G. I worked with Colgate, I worked with Nielsen, and then gradually started delving into real estate when I came to Canada. It's a very, I would say, fast growing industry as well. And because a lot of immigration, part of the country's policy, the immigration that happens every year. So there is a lot of, I would say real estate hasn't stopped the boom, right? So I became a mortgage agent and then became a broker with a team. And right now my team is small, but they are, again, very dedicated. I run a small brokerage. And so I stopped or, went full-time doing real estate. Then about 5.5 years ago, I stumbled upon, more like 8 years ago, I stumbled upon Bitcoin. And I really dismissed it. There wasn't a lot of information back there and back time, like I'm talking like 2015. And I thought, what, this is a fad, it's going to die. So why bother, right? And then in 2016, that was in 2014. In 2016, I stumbled upon it again. And I go, well, let me take a look. I thought it was dead already. Like, let's see why it hasn't died, right? And so that's how I started diving into it. And it took me 1.5 years to really get it, right? I started getting into, or my purpose as well was to get into Ethereum, because Ethereum was born in 2015. So, and it was in Canada, right? Like one of the co-founders were Canadians. And long story short, after taking me like 18 months to really crack the nut, it dawned on me to say, what, I'm not coming from the technical background. I'm not a coder. I'm not a software developer. I'm not an engineer. I do understand a lot of terminology, but I'm coming from the business world, and this is so difficult and so abstract. So I put it upon myself to develop a sort of a curriculum, a sort of basic material that people would, without all the technical terms or dumbing it down, the technical terms, to something that people can really understand, can really acquaint themselves, and can really put into practice so they can really get it, right? So, and that's kind of what, made me create Cryptoducation, because in the end, again, I studied in the University of Nicosia. I took their MOOC class, passed the exams, took a few other courses online, read many books, participated in different blockchain conferences in Toronto and in Europe, spent a lot of hours in educating myself. And now I'm doing consulting and doing some mentoring, because it's a hands-on approach. I didn't write a book because by the time it's being published, then the things are already like out of date, right? So I feel I'm not making a good service of anybody's time and anybody's there to really buy something that, especially with the case of technology, makes it obsolete in just a few months, right? So basically what I created was, together with a few colleagues, was to this Cryptoducation, which is our mission to provide hands-on education workshops and consulting services for professionals, companies around blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and, well, in this case, mining cryptocurrencies in a non-technical, easy to understand and applicable way. That's what makes us and sets us apart from any other courses. There are a lot of education schools and consultants, but they have different focuses, right? Some, they go after the software developers. They want to teach them to program Solidity. I don't. We do have clients that they like what we do. They like to understand before they engage into something bigger. And then they ask us, hey, can you create this coin? Can you create or help us integrate this with our system? And I personally don't do it, but I do have, again, different industry partners that they give us a very good deal for the client as they come through us, right? So we offer, we like to, what we say, end-to-end solutions. So right now, all our courses are, because of the pandemic, because of the reach, they are offered online. Now, we dive also into offering recorded or pre-recorded sessions. The issue with that is it doesn't feel, I don't like them, because there is also new things happening. Even if it's something as simple as a diagram, there are new elements, or there are new words, or there are new names to things, right? So plus you lose that live participation and engagement with people, which is so valuable. At least that's kind of what I value a lot, that people get, which is different from just reading a book or just watching a video on your own time, right? Of course, we can record the sessions and you keep the recording, but better than that are the exercises that you get on our lessons, which you can repeat, you can share with your loved ones, with your family, with your kids. And again, you can replicate at your own speed and at your will, right? We do consulting engagements or corporate trainings that are provided on demand, in person or online, like depending on the client's needs. And it's very important to invest in education, right? Like it's more expensive not to be educated and just do because, oh, my friend they bought Cardano, they bought Bitcoin, I should do it too, right? Like, no. If you invest in your education for yourself or for your business, that's, for disruptors and leading companies, it pays many times over. The little investment you did on education, it will pay you in, 10, 20, 100 times over that investment, right? Just the feel of the room for Karen and Don, if you would, maybe put it in the chat. What's your experience with blockchain and Cardano? From 1 to 5, when 1 is number like very new to the subject, I don't know anything, or number 5, which, hey, I own ADA, I stake it, or even I'm running my own staking node with the Cardano. So just take 5 seconds to say, or you can shout it out. Oh, that's great if you put it on the chat. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, so that's great. So let me show you something that will hopefully help. And I was talking to Christian, say, okay, so how can we explain better what cryptos do, right? So blockchains is something that is called a distributed ledger technology, or DLT. And this is something that we created in our foundation, or in our team, to help understand, or people understand better, what is a replicated ledger, right? So these are the elements that always be part of any distributed ledger technology. You will have some sort of foundation or governance, which is going to define later on the steps, or how the administration, how the updates will operate, who's going to call the shots, so to speak. Now, it could be one person, could be one foundation, an organization, or could be distributed. And that changes depending on what project you're talking about. The second thing you will have is a type of consensus algorithm, which basically it is, for Bitcoin, for instance, is what it's called proof of work, which means how the blockchain comes to understand what information to include in a block, what information is true, is valid. So that is kind of the brain of the blockchain, right? Think of it like all of us are at this exactly point in time opening a spreadsheet in Google Docs, and we are all typing things randomly in that. How will the system define which one is correct, which is the last version, and which one is like the version that everybody's going to have, right? Like, you break, if you try to do that with Google Docs, and it breaks down, right? Like, it doesn't know. Imagine the blockchain in this case, where they know there is a process, and it's called consensus algorithm, and it works in every blockchain. That's the brains, right? That's how they decide, okay, what goes information, which goes first than the other one, and who said it first, kind of thing, right? Sometimes. So that is the second element. The third element is, you need to, from today, most of these blockchains, they have native assets. And how do you exchange those native assets for money or for something else? That is what the gateway that is given by, or is provided by, the exchanges, right? And then the exchanges need wallets, which these wallets talk to the blockchain to send or receive those native assets. Now, when you look outside of the blockchain with the outside world, well, the outside world uses paper money, or may use credit cards, or may use your phone to do payments, or to exchange goods, websites. So that is where payment processors come in, right? So those are kind of what eliminate the friction and communicate with the, in this case, crypto wallets, to make things happen, okay, easier. Now, developers are key to this as well, because without the developers, consensus algorithm would die, right? Or new upgrades to the system, the governance that provides that wouldn't know when to implement them. Or the developers, if it's decentralized, you have, developers all over the world, and which changes happen first than the other one. So there's a lot of what governance does, but developers are the ones that keep the system alive and keep the system up to date with trends, with new usage, with if it's something broke down or it was hacked. So all of this, you need developers. And last but not least, well, you need educators and consultants that will be educating people about and leverage how to leverage this system, how this wonderful technology, how you can use it in your business, how you can use it in your family, how you can, really take advantage of this technology. and then become user. And the users, well, they really interact with every single part of it. So it doesn't matter which DLT, which distributed ledger you look at, you will always find some sort of these elements somehow distributed in any of those, right? And that's why it's so important that we understand about each one of those pieces, and that's how a little bit how our courses are structured. It doesn't matter which blockchain you go to, right? And you don't need to, be with us or have us. Oh, can you take a look at it? We'll give you the thinking, so you can do the thinking for you. We don't feed you. We teach you how to fish, so to speak, right? So that's one key. So if we look at the evolution of this distributed ledger technology, we see, the first generation was Bitcoin in 2009. And it was basically a blockchain that was learning what DLTs can do. We learned about what's a fork of the main chain. We started to look at, improvement proposals in decentralized systems. Bitcoin is the first decentralized system that ever was, using DLT, which is distributed. So it's using decentralization. And up to this point, we never experienced something like it, right? That's why it's so disruptive. Our governments are heavily centralized. Our banking system is heavily centralized. So we don't, as human beings, we tend to be centralistic and centralized in everything. Oh, there is only one, big Super Bowl. There is only now the Olympics, and there is only one every 4 years, and so forth, right? So we tend to centralize stuff, and it doesn't. This is going against that, right? Because it relinquishes that power that one person or one entity or one corporation could do or could have, and really distributes to the nodes or to the people which are part of the system. So that's what Bitcoin does. And that's what Bitcoin started doing back in 2009. That's why it's so great. Then the second generation blockchains came along with Ethereum, based in Canada with the co-founders in around July 2015. Vitalik Buterin, who had worked a lot on Bitcoin and the Bitcoin magazine, he's I would say a genius, coming from software and engineering, and he dropped out of the university to create Ethereum. And basically what they created is Turing-complete languages. What if we could program, use this decentralized software machine, and we could, run some programs on it? What if we could, by using smart contracts, put logic into DLTs and create programmable money? And that's kind of their vision, and it came to fruition with Ethereum. Now, we know Ethereum has had some issues. Actually, it's forking tonight or during these hours, or very soon. It's going to go into a new upgrades. And in my humble opinion, that's what I tell all my students, I don't think Ethereum will move from proof of work to proof of stake in the same chain. So that's why they created a new chain called the Beacon chain, Ethereum 2.0, which is going to be that. And they say 2022, I think it's going to be 2023, but we'll see. And then we have the third generation blockchains, or DLTs, which is Cardano. And Cardano, Charles Hoskinson, one of the founders of Cardano, he was also one of the co-founders of Ethereum. So there is a lot of knowledge what comes with Charles. Plus, what makes Cardano so unique is that it's the first and only blockchain that is peer-reviewed and it follows the scientific method. So there is a lot of academia, PhDs. Out of the 20 people involved in the board of directors for IOHK, like 18 are PhDs and only 2 people are not, right? Like you can see the caliber of people, mathematicians, software developers, statistics, engineers, you name it, right? But most of them are high caliber PhDs with a lot of knowledge on it. And this is the only one, the only blockchain that has been tested, peer reviewed, and making sure that what it does it and do it efficiently and cost effectively. Bitcoin was the first one, right? I'm not saying it's bad, but it wasn't created with peer reviewed. It was maybe in the shade or in the shadows, and that's how it was conceived, right? And it was born. It was born out of centralized. Only Satoshi Nakamoto own computer was running it, and then he started to propagate and pass on the software, and it became more decentralized. But every blockchain was born centralized: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Now, Cardano being the third generation, it's faster, it's cheaper, and well, you name it. You can do what you can do with Ethereum, you can do like smart contracts, and you can do what you can do with Bitcoin. It also has a cap of 45 billion ADA, which is kind of their native coin. And that's what gives them more value. With Bitcoin, it is a cap of 21 million. Ethereum has over 130 million ETH and it still keeps printing, right? So that's why I say, you know what? One of those things is not the only one, but you know, I would bet more on Cardano than Ethereum for sure. This is the last slide, guys. Basically, this is just a lay of the land when it comes to staking coins. And what's a staking? So you need to basically delegate your coins, put them somewhere, and that delegator or that people that you delegate to is going to have them in the system. And when, based on the number of coins that they have, they get certain weight in the system, and the system then may use them or select them randomly to create a block. When you create a block, you get compensated, you get rewards of or what it's called block rewards. And again, like this is a testament of all the proof of stake coins that are out there, the main ones, how they stack against, you know, how much of their percentage of their circulating supply is being staked. And you can see ADA has over 70% of the ADA in circulation staked, compared to Ethereum, that is only 5.37, or Hex, which is 10, or Solana, which is 74, etc. Right? But in terms of actual dollars as well as stake, you can see that Cardano leads the pack, right? So again, these are the major coins that are using proof of stake. You can check them out, and I'll send these slides as well to Christian, so you can post them later on in the group. And again, I didn't put these together. It was, you can see the source, staking platforms and Cryptoducation. And I think they update these fairly on a monthly basis, every 5 weeks. But you can take a quick snapshot. And I like this chart because, again, if you own, at least if you own the top 1 or 2, that's you know where you're standing, right? But it doesn't come close to what Cardano is doing when it comes to staking. So guys, that's what I have for you tonight. I'll be glad to take any questions.
That's awesome. Thanks, Rob, for the presentation. I think that's a wonderful overview of everything. And you know, it's always good to see, you know, where things have come, you know, from the Bitcoin initial days in 2009 to the Ethereum launching in 2015, when actually you were the one that, you know, kind of got excited being in Canada and, you know, being able to see the smart contract blockchain come to fruition. And now with Cardano, which launched in, you know, 2017, but you know, hasn't really done, you know, what people would consider a lot until right now, right? We're in that Alonzo hard fork period where the smart contracts here are supposed to go live this year, you know, probably maybe this month, you know, or next month. You know, we're looking at a fun time for the Cardano community. And with the Ethereum update, like you mentioned, I forgot about that. It just happened today, right? The EIP 1559. So the people that hold Ether were really looking forward to that, because hopefully a lot of the inflation that happens with Ethereum will get taken into account, and they're starting to burn the transaction fees, right? So hopefully that'll keep the supply in check, and what people are really interested in, right, is how much is it going to be worth. And so hopefully the Ethereum price, which has been going up, goes up even more. And I think a lot of people look at cryptocurrencies as, okay, how much money am I going to make from it, right? I mean, Bitcoin, when it came out, it was valued at nothing or pennies, right? Now it's close to 40,000 and got as high as 64,000. Yeah. So anyway, I'd love to hear from other people too on what questions you've got for Rob. Karen, do you have anything? When did you get involved with Ethereum?
I unmuted Christian just in case a question came to my mind, but I'm such a beginner. I don't even have questions formulated yet. I just learned how to fill my wallet. I mean, I'm really very, very basic, but it's fascinating to hear the slight comparisons with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. And I'm just really curious about when we talk about Canada and we talk about Cardano, what is it about Cardano that is related to Canada in some way? I'm still trying to grasp that understanding.
Oh, there is no connection. So Ethereum, a couple of the co-founders of Ethereum happen to be Canadian. Vitalik Buterin, if you Google Vitalik, you will see Ethereum, right?
Right.
He's a young guy. I've met him a few times in different conferences. I know his parents. And again, he's a Russian Canadian family, and they live in Toronto, right? There's another guy as well that it's from Toronto and lives in Toronto as well. And they were part of the co-founding team. Charles Hoskinson, for instance, he's not in Toronto. I think he's in Wyoming or something in the US. Joe Lubin, who runs Consensus, he's also in New York. So again, you got, and Gavin Wood, who was the other co-founder, he's in the US, right? And Gavin, he's the one that is running now Polkadot. So you remember from, if you see this one, Polkadot is this one with a P. So that's Gavin Wood's project. So Ethereum, I wouldn't say disbanded, but Anthony DiOrio is the other co-founder who lives in Toronto. So Ethereum had the Toronto connection because these were people in the community, in the tech community that co-founded this thing. With Cardano, there is no such a thing. Cardano actually, as I said, it's called IOHK, Input Output Hong Kong. And that's the company that Charles Hoskinson created. It is literally out of Hong Kong. And to to develop the software for running Cardano. But Cardano is being Charles has been very smart to try to decentralize as much as possible. And one of the things that makes it so unique, again, has nothing to do with Toronto or with any city that I know of, he's fighting or doing everything consciously to be as decentralized as possible. But it is involving a lot of institutions, education institutions. So, and that's driven because of the academia or the PhD and the researchers that are being or have been involved with Cardano in their peer review process, in their publishing of articles. And that's, you may see, I'm sure there's, I don't remember which universities, but universities from the US, universities from Australia, from Europe that are and have been involved in the development of Cardano. So before they do something on smart contracts, they pretty much modeled and simulated that as to understand what they were and how they were going to go about it, right? So very thorough. So it looks like even though they were born in 2017, it is until now, as Christian was saying, that until now we're starting to see everything coming together with Cardano, and it's so nice, and that's what makes it so full of opportunity, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true, Robin. I'd like to thank Brian for joining. Brian, we did record this entire session, and I'll post the link after it's been edited into YouTube, and also add the details of everything that we've spoken about. Do you want to post your information up there, Rob, so people know how to get in touch with you? The links to Cryptoducation.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I have these links just that invite you to visit, check out our site, check out our solutions, and there are free resources as well. Here you can reach me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. You just scan the QR code with your LinkedIn app. If you have your phone, feel free to add me as a connection on your network in LinkedIn, or you can send me an email at hello@cryptoducation.ca. So that's how you can get in touch.
Awesome.
Nice, thanks.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to let people know too that, I got so excited about Cardano that we actually built our own staking pool, and it's called iStakeADA, and I talked a little bit about it in our last meetup. And I'll post the information in the meetup in the description too. And it looks like Cardano, I was just checking out the information right now. It's at $1.38. It's been kind of hovering around the low $1 range now for the last probably two or 3 months, ever since the huge run up in Bitcoin, and all of the altcoins kind of had a tremendous run up. But it looks like everything's consolidating, and the prices are what they are right now. But what I really love about Cardano, I think, is that the long-term vision is just so dramatically different than any other blockchain. Cardano has their relationship with the Ethiopian government, which they're starting to implement right now on digital identification. So 5 million or so of the students and faculty and schools in Ethiopia will be utilizing Cardano to keep track of student records, which is a huge deal. I mean, once you start getting the digital identities in place, then people can prove that they actually got educated, what they learned, what their grades were, similar to what we do in the US with transcripts from college, and I'm sure in Canada as well. The rest of the world doesn't have really great records, or a lot of times they're forged, or people make things up. So this is giving people in Ethiopia the ability now to really display how well they did in school, and education is a big portion of that. And Charles Hoskinson is really dedicated to the African ecosystem, and you'll see other projects that are happening in Africa, like World Mobile Token, which I'm really excited about, which is really giving cell service and high-speed internet to the sub-Saharan parts of Africa. And that's really just launched over the last month or so, and the WMT tokens coming into play. But there are so many really exciting things on the horizon for Cardano. I can just see them exploding here. And I love the staking pool slide that you showed, Rob, that had how many coins in Cardano have been staked, and how many people are really taking advantage of making 4 or 5% on their Cardano through rewards. The Cardano staking system is just great, and it's nice to be able to be in a community too that's so vibrant, and people have a tendency to really get excited about what Cardano is doing, and share it on all these different platforms and meetups and all the other things. So excited about that. But I'll let you finish it up. Rob, do you have anything else that you want to add before we close this up?
No, thank you, Christian. I mean, you can get in touch with me. Again, I encourage people to visit the resources, check out if any of our solution or workshops help them, can be of use for them or your teams. And, we can chat on Twitter, Facebook. To be honest, I don't frequent it a lot, but LinkedIn and Twitter are the most ones that we use, or by email, right? So any of those, feel free.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for showing up. And again, we'll post this video as soon as it's ready. And thank you, Rob. I know it's late in Toronto, and we'll hopefully keep the conversation going offline. But if you've got any questions about crypto education, there's their website, and feel free to go give them a shout out as well. Thanks so much.